Greetings, humans. I'm Andre, and this is Couscous. And we are here with the wonderful, amazing, and fabulous Aaron Friedland of Scardust. Thank you
Hey
very much
guys,
for joining.
greetings.
Greetings with a Z at the end.
With a Z, exactly. So it's
Um,
fun. I'm really excited to be here. We've chatted a bit in the past, and I enjoy my chats with you. So
yeah, for the people watching, this is not the first time I meet Aaron, but it is the first time you get to see this. So I hope you enjoy the interview. The first thing I want to ask you is get right into the meat of things. Your new album, Souls, was released just over 2 months ago at the time of recording. I know you've been sitting on it for a while with the logistical mess until it actually got released. How does it feel to finally have it out? And how do you feel about the response that it's received so far?
first of all, I am so happy that it's out and that people can enjoy it and experience it in full. Um, we've been kind of releasing a bunch of singles leading up to the release, so people were able to get a taste of the album, and really a lot of the album kind of came out before the album itself.
Yeah.
Um, but now it's come out in full, and you can kind of put it on from beginning to end and experience it, and it just feels great, and for me, especially, it's just a very special experience because it's the first Scardust album that I feature in as the keyboard player. It's the first album in general that I feature in, and it's just a very exciting place for me to be. Like people can listen to Souls and I can be like, hey, yeah, that's me playing on that record,
Yeah, you are
and
officially a published musician.
yeah, and it's a very special feeling. I'm really, yeah, it moves me a lot.
Well, your parts certainly sound crazy on the album,
Thank you.
especially those runs in Long Forgotten Soul bros got my bro's brain upside down. What the fuck, Aaron? So, congratulations on your performance.
Thank you.
I want to ask you about the compositional process. I know that in the early days of Stardust, Or and Noah were the core composers. I think that's still been the case on this one, but my understanding is that it's been more of a team effort.
Mhm.
What was your participation writing wise in Souls?
That is an interesting question and a bit of a complicated question too.
Well,
um,
this is prog. We don't like simple stuff.
yeah, I honestly couldn't participate mostly in the writing. It happened in a very complex time here, and I was busy with other stuff during that time, so it was very hard for me to join for writing sessions. I was able to contribute a bit in some of the stuff, like notably, I think I was in a writing session where we kind of came up with the initial concept for King of Insanity, which was really cool. Um, and my biggest contribution, what I was able to actually get done in the time that I did have, was do the arrangement for the little interlude piece in the middle of the album, End of the World. So that was me. That was um, I did the arrangement for choir and strings, with some kind of back and forth feedback from Noah, and that's my main contribution in this album. I unfortunately can't say I did much beyond that in this album, but I'm definitely excited about contributing more in future materials.
Okay, so about the end of the world piece, you guys commented on our reaction to it and mentioned that it's reprising parts of Unreachable and Searing Echoes. I'm still struggling to find them. I think they're very subtle, but I'm not giving
Yeah.
up. But what I wanted to ask you about that is you also mentioned that this song was sort of written initially over 10 years ago. So was this song adapted to include themes from Unreachable and Searing Echoes, or were Searing Echoes written based on parts of this song?
No. So the chicken and the egg. No, the song itself is something that Noah and Orr wrote a long time ago for a production that kind of that was shown only once or twice. Like it didn't they didn't do much with it. Like the production
Mhm,
didn't do much with the song. They didn't, and they were and Noah and Orr were able to kind of get the song back into their possession. Like the production was like, well, you can use the song again. Like it's fine.
mhm,
Um, and I think Noah had the idea to use it as an interlude piece. So uh, the kind of mission we set out to do was take that piece and arrange it for choir and strings and make an interlude out of it.
mhm.
And the connections to songs in the album was my sort of idea of trying to add more interest and more kind of intrigue into the arrangement itself. I wanted to kind of connect because the interlude connects those two songs that you mentioned, Unreachable and Searing Echoes. So I decided, what if a theme from Unreachable kind of appears at the beginning of the piece, and then a theme from Searing Echoes appears at the end, and then that kind of creates a bit more cohesion, kind of with the connection between them. So I did that, and if you listen closely, it's not one to one, but like at the beginning of the piece, you'll hear like something. It sounds a bit Game of Thrones in the way
Yeah.
in the kind of the way that it's in the tempo or the measure that it's sitting on, the beats that it's sitting on. But you've got the "You're unreachable." You've got that
Mhm.
kind of theme there sitting in some of the vocals at the beginning. And then towards the end, you've got the Searing Echoes. Um, da na na na. You got that part from the chorus. It's sitting
Mhm.
there also in the background in the vocals. Um, and it was just fun to kind of think about how to add those into the arrangement in a way that works. It's like a puzzle, like putting a puzzle together.
Yeah.
Um, and then thinking about the pieces beforehand. Like I want to put Searing Echoes here. I want to put Unreachable here.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, that was a fun sort of little uh, challenge to kind of get that in.
So the arrangement was kind of focused around this idea of including these two songs and connecting them through an orchestral piece.
Yeah, yeah. And if you listen, also the scales are also similar. Like Unreachable ends on a D chord, and End of the World starts on a D chord, D minor, and then towards the end we reach this kind of big kind of chord that ends with some tension. It's the fifth of the chord that starts Searing Echoes. So I really tried to make it a that it felt like there's a flow, right? That it felt like there's a connection and not just a random piece in the middle.
Yeah, it sure feels like that. I think that's actually one of the reasons why it was hard for me to pick up on the themes, is because the whole thing feels so cohesive and coherent that it doesn't strike you, okay, this is a specific part. The whole thing feels like one piece.
That's really cool to hear.
Okay, so after writing comes recording. And apart from the fact that you've discovered the human nose is a fifth limb,
Go.
Do you have anything you would like to share from the recording process? Funny stories or maybe frustrations or struggles, anything like that?
You alluded to one of the funny stories when we were recording the first half of the album, specifically "Long Forgotten Song." There's a chord there that I was struggling to kind of play. Um, I was struggling to play it with all my fingers at the same time. Like I could have done something. I could have used like some classical technique and not played
Mhm.
them exactly together, but then that wasn't what we were going for. And as you know, in Scardust, we have to play the notes as they're written.
As we have established earlier, you must play the notes. You
Yeah.
have to play the music as written.
I get punished if I don't play all the notes.
So, Aaron.
So,
Yeah.
um, so we had that funny moment in where I played one of the notes with my nose during the recording. That was fun. I think in general, my recording experience was pretty chill and fun. Um, yeah, I mean, I got to, at least for the first half, I got to sit at home and do the recording with Noah as kind of my recording technician, and then the second half I did with Ori Mazuz from Hellscore, who did a wonderful job. We had a great time doing that. Um, and I'd have to say the most difficult song to record was probably Long Forgotten Song. Um, that and King of Insanity.
Mhm.
Those are probably two of the most difficult stuff that were written for the keyboards on
Is
this
it
album.
because of the really fast runs that sound the most difficult to the untrained ear, or are actually those not the most challenging thing?
You'd be surprised, maybe, but those weren't the most difficult. Um, like I remember specifically from your reaction that
Mhm.
there was a specific reaction to a really fast run in the middle.
What the fuck, Aaron? Yeah.
And that's actually not one of the hardest parts in the song. Uh, one of the harder parts in the song are actually the quiet part where there's just keyboards and guitar. Um,
Oh,
yeah, there's a lot going on there
in the bridge
for
section.
in the bridge section. Yeah. As well as the part that comes later with the bass solo on top of it.
Yeah.
Um, and then there are these little kind of runs going into the choruses that are super difficult. And the last one specifically is a bit longer, and it was just really hard to get it down right. So there are a lot of tricky parts in that song.
I Now that we're talking about Long Forgotten Song, I feel like I also wanna pick your brains a bit about the lyric video you have,
Hmm.
because that is officially my favorite lyric video. The amount of visual Easter eggs and hints at stuff from the Scardust past is insane. And it
Yeah.
also ties very well into the actual lyrical content of the song. So, who had that idea to to just put this room and this, like, the entire Scardust history is in the room? And in case you've seen our reaction, is there anything really important in it that we've missed?
Okay. Uh, for that first part, I'm pretty sure it was Noah's idea. That
Mhm.
you can ask her to be sure, but Noah came up with the idea. Um, and I think it came out really well too. Like you're saying it became your favorite lyric video. I think it also I think it came out really cool. Like just having all these hidden stuff. Um, I feel like you picked up on a lot of the big stuff. There's
Mhm.
probably more stuff. Like I'm not even sure I'm aware of all the stuff that's hidden in there. But Noah did a really good job of kind of planting stuff from the decade, like from the entire history of Scardust, and kind of putting it in there. I felt like you picked up on a lot of the subtle stuff in your video as well, like some of the faded out paintings that are
Yeah.
actually like frames from different videos and stuff, or album art. Like that's yeah. Um,
it's
yeah,
it it's so cool because the song seems to describe these like almost like faded echoes of the past, like sort of lost in a bit of a blur. And at the same time, while I'm watching that video, I just get this experience like I'm digging stuff up from my memory, from the back of my head that I forgot were even there. It's so well put together. The video expresses exactly what the song expresses.
yeah, yeah. Like I think that's one of the cool things about that concept really, is that it ties in well with the theme of the song. Um, if you listen to the song as well, you've got, reprises from previous songs. Mainly, you've got the Dials theme coming in the chorus, which is really kind of prominent there. But yeah, that's kind of the idea of that video, and yeah, it came out really cool.
Speaking of dials, the
Hmm.
intro to Searing Echoes with the strikes and the sort of single syllable moments with choir felt to me like it's sort of reprising a similar moment in Dial.
I mean, I guess that's more of a question for Orr, because he's the mastermind of kind of those little details sometimes in the arrangements, and I mean, it might be. I'd say it might be. I'm not sure 100% that I feel it that way, but it could be, and I just haven't really thought about it enough.
So, speaking of concept in general, because we're on this topic, I feel like every song on this album has a very interesting and very meaningful concept, theme, idea, whatever you want to call it. Is there a particular one that you really relate to, that you feel means something special for you?
Wow. Interesting question. Interesting question. I've kind of talked quite a bit about Touch of Life in different contexts.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say that that's something that I really relate to, in terms of the whole idea of striving for perfection and reaching this point of being frustrated, upset that it just doesn't happen. Like, you can't reach it. It doesn't
Yeah.
exist. As soon as you think you got there, you're, like, no, this isn't it. Like I need more, or whatever. And how all that relates to art and music making, and just kind of being, it to me, I've kind of been going through this personal journey of tempering my perfectionism, because I'm a perfectionist, and that makes it very hard to let go and be okay with, a certain result,
Yeah.
and actually get stuff done, right, and call it done. Because if you're striving for perfection all the time, then it's something, that thing you're working on is never done. It's always, you always need to do more and more and more. But then nobody can enjoy the result, least of all you, because you're still, upset or fixated on getting that extra bit done.
Yeah.
So I think I really relate to that concept of, you know, it's not mentioned, it's not mentioned explicitly in the piece in Touch of Life. Touch of Life is kind of stops at that, it's the story of this perfectionism that leads to tragedy.
Yeah.
And it doesn't reach the point where the main character kind of grows or anything or learns from that experience. But I take it to a place where there's a lesson to be learned here and growth to be had in in kind of realizing that perfectionism can be a kind of a wall, something that blocks you a lot of times, and it can be okay to kind of um, be happy with good enough or really good, but just not try and realize that those sometimes expectations can be unrealistic, and try and lower them and be happy with a good result, a great result, and allow that to be put out in the world, and then you can move on to other stuff as well. So
I love that you mentioned the idea of like the character eventually growing out of that perfectionism, because I feel like the song doesn't show you the character doing that, but it hints at that possibility, because at the final lyrics in the song, the choir at the end, it feels like it's like the song has shown you the story and now it zooms out of it and speaks to the listener directly. When you get the if we listen to our souls, a touch of life will carry us into a beautiful dance of creation, but only if you listen to your souls. It almost feels like this wisdom line, something Gandalf would say. I don't know. That's just like a life
yeah,
lesson in that.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
so beautifully expressed, and it's a great way to wrap up the entire album as well, because a lot of things have gone wrong for you guys with trying to get this album out. It's been far, the journey's been far from perfect, but to me as a listener, it's the most exciting musical phenomenon that has happened probably in half a decade. So,
wow.
so go ahead and complain about the imperfections, and you're gonna miss all that. It almost feels like the album's talking about itself.